Hello, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Stephen, and this is how to make changes stick in your life and business. In this video, in this episode, I'm going to share with you a 20-minute framework that will make you rethink everything you know about making changes, how to make them stick, how to integrate them, how to improve what you're already doing so you can shift your identity, improve your standards, and develop your actions. Now, I've used this framework with all my one-to-one coaching clients over the last couple of years. I've also used this framework myself to shift my identity and improve my life, going from a broke retail worker to an entrepreneur. And I want to teach you not only the system, but I want to frame it around some key mental models that I use. But before we get into that, here is a testimonial from one of my clients, Mike Lamb. He said that there were tangible results. People around me have also noticed how all kinds of things have improved and gotten better. I've made changes and stuck with them. So this system has receipts and it's worked for many of my clients. Now, in this video, I'm just going to move myself up here. I'm going to discuss this 20-minute system. It's got 3 parts. It might take me slightly longer than 20 minutes to go through it, but the 3 parts are an intro, framing out the Acorn Thinking Matrix, which is the current mental model I use with my clients, and discussing a couple of mental models about what has changed and the kind of barriers you're going to face when you try to change. Then we're going to get into the 4 core steps to making changes stick. This is the process that I want to teach you, the core process, the 4 pillars. And doing that yourself should take you less than 20 minutes, maybe, to run through a change or an improvement you want to make in your life. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward for you to do. Then to finish off, we're going to discuss 3 common mistakes that people do when they go to make changes. But by the end of the program, by the end of this episode, you will have the simplest and most effective way to implement change in your life and business. Now, before we jump into it, I just wanted to frame it with this quick idea. I do feel that the atomic habits, productivity bro, optimization people have really bamboozled us into thinking that change is about starting new habits. Change is about patching on new things. I completely disagree. I actually think change is 2 things. It's improving what we're already doing, expanding on the good shit that we're already doing, while removing the dumb shit slowing us down. We're already doing a lot of the good things that we want to do in our lives. We're already running a business. We're already being healthy. We're already sleeping. We're already working. We're already doing a lot of the habits that will actually make us successful. And what we want to do is improve them rather than trying to start new habits on top of what we're already doing. We want to improve what we're already doing rather than removing the stuff that doesn't work. And this system and the models I'm about to share with you really help you do that. But let's get into the Acorn Thinking Matrix. This is the macro overview model that I use. And then the system I'm going to teach you is the macro model that I use to make changes. But let's start with the Acorn Thinking Matrix because it frames everything. It frames everything that I do with my clients. The Acorn Thinking Matrix is a 3-step process to reduce stress, improve your performance, and turn your business into an endless ATM. Acorn Thinking Matrix, also a money machine. Works. Anyway, there we go. So you start with your future identity, you move to higher standards, and then with those higher standards, you improve your actions, and then you change your identity, and it's a continuous loop. Setting that new big future goal, that new big future identity, picking out standards from that future identity, and then improving your actions to meet that new identity. And you keep doing that. So identity creates your standards, standards drive your actions change your identity. So it's a continuous loop. So if you're looking to change anything in your life, if you're looking to improve, if you're looking to develop, you got to pick that future identity. You've got to understand what your new standards are, and then you've got to act to those new standards so you change your identity. It's pretty simple. Now, I developed this matrix because I felt some of the other teachings out into the world by some of the other gurus and performance coaches kind of were a bit vague. And let me get into that quickly. Why do most gurus lead you astray? Well, they talk about be, do, have, and they talk about identity, your current identity equaling your beliefs, behaviors, and skills. Now, I 100% believe that. I 100% believe in be, do, have, which is be who you want to be, do what they do, and then have the life that you want to have. And then I do believe that your current identity is your beliefs, behaviors, and skills. But while both of these points are true, they don't teach you how to use be, do, have, or how to change your beliefs, behaviors, and skills. This is where Acorn Thinking does, because it's saying call out your future identity, call out those high standards, improve your actions, change your identity. That is how you actually do it. And then getting into the weeds, this 4-step model I'm going to teach you today is the 4 steps that you would use to change your beliefs, to change your behaviors, to develop your skills, to be, do, have, to be the person that you want to be. It really gets into the weeds. I've been inside some high ticket programs. I've been inside some DIY courses where they talk about this. And I just feel like there's that missing piece. There's that, well, how do you actually do it? What is the project management part? What is the A to Z? What is the critical path? What is the actual journey you have to go on to make those changes? I am a former project manager, so that's probably where my brain goes to. So I'm really getting into the weeds here of, okay, if you want to shift your identity, improve your standards, increase your actions, well, how do you do that? And that's what the Acorn Thinking Matrix and this 4-step process I'm going to share with you does. But before we get into that, what problems are you going to face when you try to develop what you're already doing or change to improve yourself? Well, I want to frame this very simply as change is bespoke to you. Just because your buddy starts going to the gym 3 times a week doesn't mean you should start going 3 times a week. You could possibly go 5 times a week because you already have certain behaviors in your life that allow you to do that. Or you should start with once a week because you have no behaviors supporting going to the gym. Now, throughout this presentation, throughout this episode, I'm going to use the gym as a reference point because I feel like it's a simple idea that we can all wrap our heads around. While you can use this process I'm teaching you on anything and processes in your business, if your health, your diet, your wealth, your relationships, you can use it in all parts of your life. But I'm going to focus on the gym as an example because I just feel like something we can all resonate with, and it's a very simple example that we can all agree upon. So, change. It's bespoke to you. This is your old status quo. This is your new status quo. So think of this model, the Virginia Satir change model. It's teaching you that this is where your current identity is and this is where your future identity is. And to get there, you're going to go through resistance and chaos before you get to integration. Now, if you were just to follow be, do, have, and okay, I'm going to start being the person who I want to be, or if you think about identity being your current beliefs, skills and behaviors, that's great. But if you try to develop those, you try to change those, you're going to hit resistance and chaos. So how do you move past the resistance and chaos? How do you get past this dip to become the new version of you? And that's what this 4-step process is going to help you do. And to support that, or talk about it a bit more, I want to use this other project management model from Jeffrey Moore. And I love this one because this is the chasm, and we've all been there. Using the gym again as an example, New Year's Eve comes around, someone says, I'm going to start going to the gym 5 times a week at 5 a.m. in the morning. Massive expectations, huge expectations. I'm doing this, this is what's happening. But what you and I already know where that story ends. By the middle of January or February, boom, disillusionment, drops the habit, doesn't integrate it, they get into the chasm, habit gravity pulls them back, they stop going 5 times a week, they even stop going 1 time a week, and they forget about that habit change and that New Year's resolution. You've done that, I've done that. Anybody who says they haven't done that with a new habit or change is a liar. Now, the idea and the process I'm going to teach you is going to lower those expectations. You're not going to go from 0 to 100. We're going to lower those expectations. We're still going to go after a big future identity, but we're going to get across this chasm. We're going to show you the process to get past resistance, avoid the chaos, jump over the chasm and integrate that new standards, those new actions, so you actually shift your identity. Because this chasm, this is where many people, 90% plus of people, they fall into this chasm and trying to improve what they're already doing and trying to change. And we want to avoid that because we don't want to keep starting to change and never actually changing. We want a process that actually helps us change so we can keep shifting our identity, keep proving our standards, and keep developing our actions. Okay, so that's what change is, an overview for you. So let's get into the actual core steps. This is the actual model. This is the actual exercise. So if you sit down and do these 4 pillars, you'll actually be able to work out how to make changes stick with anything that you want to do in your life or business. So we're going to start with number 1, start where you are, aka your current data. We're going to get into visions and goals. I like those to be unrealistic, big visions and goals, big future identity. Then we're going to get into sustained behavior. Can you sustain that improvement? And then we're going to get into stacking. Can you keep developing that improvement, or is it time to, dare I say, start something new or focus on improving something else? So luckily, I have a colorful graph that breaks all of this down for you. We're going to go into each of these areas individually: current data, vision and goals, sustained behavior, and stacking. So let's get into it. Okay, so start where you are, aka your current data. Why am I starting here? Well, I don't see a lot of other performance coaches starting here. Now, there are a few that do, and I've got a lot of respect for them, and I've learned this from them. But a lot of people don't even think about this. What are you already doing? What are you already trending towards? All of us want to be the best version of ourselves. All of us want to be the ultimate version, the best future identity of ourselves. We already have that person inside of us. So they're already doing good things. So what do you do with your time currently? What is your reality? Because if you don't know your current reality, you have no markers, you have no measurement, you have no way to tracking to see whether you're trending towards those changes. So the first step, even before we get into setting goals, even before we get into setting those unrealistic, those big goals, that big future identity, what's your life like? What are you currently doing in your business? What's the A to Z process in your business? What are your SOPs? What is your health like? What is your diet like? How much money have you got coming in? How many hours do you work? How much time do you spend with your family? What is your reality? You should know everything about you, because before you change anything, before you try to improve anything, set new goals, increase the good shit that you're doing, you have to know your current data and trends. As I said, you want to know whether you're already trending towards your future self. You want to know what to focus on. You want to know what the good shit is. The problem that a lot of people have that I see when they go to make changes, and I'm talking about 6, 7, 8 figure business owners here, is they don't think about their current trends or data. They just decide, okay, I'm going to start doing X amount of sales call a week. I'm going to start this new process. I'm going to hire in this VA for this. They just jump into new goals without actually knowing, well, what actually needs fixed? What is the journey currently? What is the A to Z currently? They don't know their current data. They open all these new loops. They open up all these new ideas thinking that that's the change they want to make. The next thing you know, they're snowed under a whole bunch of pointless projects and pointless shifts and pointless improvements that didn't actually work because they didn't know their current data. So this is the first step. Start where you are and collect all current data on the change or the improvement you want to make. What do you want to improve? Know exactly what you're doing with it currently, how many hours you're doing with it, what the process is, everything you need to know about yourself with the thing that you want to improve. It's a very, very simple place to start, but it's missed by a lot of people because most people go straight into goal setting and go straight into vision and goals. New Year's resolutions, SMART goals, whatever that is. Everybody just seems to start with, okay, set a goal for yourself. Wrong. In my opinion, wrong. Know your current data first, then set goals, because then you actually have somewhere that you have a baseline to track from. And your vision and goals. What is it you want to achieve? Pick one target for this exercise. I always recommend one target, and usually pick something that you're already doing. Pick something that you're already wanting to improve in your life rather than starting a new habit. Is it to lose 40 pounds by going to the gym? Is it to make an extra million? Is it to spend more time with your family? Pick that target. But what is it you want to work towards? What is it you want to organize your life around? What is that identity that you want to change? What is that big future identity that you want to change? Picking one part of that future identity that you really want to focus on. Because if you don't have a direction set, you're not able to see whether you're already trending towards it or away from it based on your current reality. That's why we start with reality, because if you already are trending towards it, all you have to do is improve on it. You don't need to start a whole bunch of new habits. As I said, we all want to be that future version of ourselves. So we're all already doing positive things within our zone of genius, within our unique abilities that match the person who we want to become. So we just need to find those things, focus on them, and expand on them. But you can't do that unless you've got your data, and then you can't do that unless you set a direction with a clear future identity, a clear vision and goals. So there it is. Collect your data, then set that big future unrealistic vision and goals. Then we want to get into sustained behavior. What behavior works for you currently? What is going to be the amount of hours that you put into this that is actually going to be sustainable for you and not have you crashing into the chasm? We go back to the Jeffrey Moore project management model. We go back to the Sotar change model with the chaos and the resistance. Go back to the example of the person going to the gym 5 times a week at 5 a.m. in the morning. That is not sustainable behavior. That is high expectations that's going to create friction, that is going to drop you down into disillusionment, and you're going to drop the habit. We don't want that to happen. We want sustained behavior. So what behavior changes can you maintain based upon your current reality? What is your current data saying? What is your current reality saying? Compared to the goals you just set, what sustained behavior can you 100% guarantee you're going to do? Starting a new habit or a process and going from 0 reps to too many reps and not testing the flow or derails many people, as I've already mentioned. So when you're improving stuff and you're already doing, that's why you're avoiding this new habit trap. If you make huge changes, you won't have the ability to sustain such a change with your current data set. So look at what you're already doing. If you're going to the gym 2-3 times a week already and you want to up that to 5, that's great. If you're not going to the gym at all, you're going to have to find other things you're already doing so you can kind of replace them with the gym. And I'll give you a personal example. Last September, in the back end of 2023, I started going to the gym 2 times a week. I've never really been to the gym before. I've used kettlebells at home, going for runs and walks, and I play a lot of soccer. So I already was doing kettlebells and going to soccer once a week. So to install the new habit, I decided to stop doing kettlebells and stop going to one of my soccer nights, to then choose those nights twice a week to go to the gym. So I already took my current data set, my current behavior that I was already doing, matched up to the future identity of wanting to be someone who had more muscle, wanting to be someone who was stronger, and then I replaced from my current data set things that I was already doing with the new habit that I knew that was going to be more beneficial for me. So I only was able to do that because I knew my current data set. Now, my goal, first of all, was to go 2 times a week. I got that installed pretty quickly. Within a month, I realized 4 weeks in a row, I can do that 2 times. Then going into 2024 this year, my goal is to get it up to 3 times a week, possibly go to 4 by the end of this year. Currently, my data is trending to about 2.5 to 3 times a week. I haven't quite dialed it in, but I don't need to really go 3 or 4 times a week. I decided that that might be my goal, but I'll pause there with my own example. But going back to it, I made a significant change. I've actually put on quite a bit of muscle, about 20 pounds in the last sort of 4 or 5 months here, 6 months maybe. It's developed me quite easily by going 2 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week. But I did that because I looked at my current behavior, and I didn't go 5 times a week at 5 a.m. in the morning. I looked at it and went, where am I already going? What am I already doing? What is the best way to sustain my behavior? So if you're thinking about improving something that you're already doing, this system will work. Now, what is this all about? 2 times or 5 times? I've already mentioned this. Your change might be going 2 times more of what you're already doing. It could also mean you're doing 5 times more based on your current reality and your current behaviors. For me, going to the gym 2 times a week worked for me because of my current behaviors and the amount of time I was already spending within my fitness. That was my baseline. Now, for you, it might mean 5 times. Now, you could use this idea as well when it comes to how many hours of deep work you're doing. You could go from 1 hour a day to 2 or 3 hours a day, or you could go from 30 minutes a day to 3 hours a day, all depending on your sustained behavior, all depending on your current reality. Again, change is bespoke to you. So without knowing your current data, without selecting a future identity, and without thinking about sustained behavior, you won't actually know how to change. And this is why a lot of people fall into the chasm. This is why a lot of people face habit gravity. This is why a lot of people get into the resistance and the chaos and they never get past it because they don't break it down into these 4 simple steps. So there it is. Data, vision and goals, sustained behavior, and then finally we get to stacking. What is stacking all about? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Can you increase the volume? Can you start another change or start another improvement? If you're happy with the volume of your change, like I'm pretty happy with 2 times a week at the gym. Going to 3 is a bonus. I might actually change my goal this year to get the 4 because I'm kind of finding 2 to 3 is good for me. You can stick with it, you can increase your volume, or you can start thinking of adding another change or developing something else in your life. But don't add anything or don't start changing other things until your volume is at 100%. If your volume isn't at 100%, if you're not happy with the current change levels, starting something else new or trying to improve something else is just going to give you more work to do. It's just going to overwhelm you. The goal here is to do one change at a time, but really to focus in on it on a short period of time and embed that change as quick as possible, as smooth as possible, and then move on. Get to that sustained 100% behavior. Now, a lot of people say it takes 21 days for habit change. Other people say 60. I would almost disagree with that in the sense that if you do it right, it can be like a light switch. If you can prove to yourself that you can do something over a month or over a couple of weeks, 2-3 times a week, you've proved to yourself that you can work for 4 hours each day. You've proved to yourself that you can go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. You've proved to yourself that you can do 10 cold emails a day or make 10 sales calls, cold calls a week. Whatever that is in your business, in your life, whatever that example is, once you've proved to yourself you can do it, that's the change done, in my opinion, because you have that banked in your memory that I am able to do this. That is my new standard. We go back to the acorn thinking matrix, the future identity, higher standards, and all it is then acting to those higher standards of going 2-3 times a week, of doing the deep work each day. So once you prove to yourself that you can do it, I think the change is made. You've just got to stick with it. Now, With stacking, the one thing I will say is if you're trying to improve things, make sure that you are at 100% before you continue to improve things. Stacking too much on top of yourself is a big mistake, and we're going to talk about that in the next part, which is the common mistakes people make. Now, this is the process, the flow of how to make change stick: data, vision and goals, sustained behavior. Once you've got that behavior sustained at 100%, try to improve something else by increasing the volume of what you're already doing, going from 4 hours to 5 hours of work a day, or going from 2 times a week at the gym to 3 times a week. You stack once you've proved to yourself that you can actually do your initial sustained behavior. Makes sense, right? Okay, common mistakes. These are the common mistakes that I see people making when it comes to change. I'm just going to move myself here quickly. Going straight to optimization. This is a huge mistake that I see people make. There's a lot of optimization bros out there in the world that will create you a Notion system, that will create you systems, come in and optimize your day. But my point is, if you don't know your current data, if you don't know your future identity, if you don't know what behavior you can sustain, what the fuck are you optimizing? What the feck are you optimizing if you don't know those things first? For me, most mere mortals like myself and the majority of us, optimization is the last step. In fact, it's a step that we shouldn't even touch. People like Elon Musk optimize rockets. People like Usain Bolt optimize to reduce their 100-meter dash by a couple of milliseconds. For us, we're organizing, we're developing, we're improving, we're pivoting. We're not really optimizing. Optimization is for people that have something working at 99% or 95%. It's cooking, it's working. If you don't have something that's cooking in your life, it's something that's like just flowing for you and creating massive results, that's not optimization. It's improving, it's developing, it's developing things to make sure that you can actually increase the volume, increase your sustained behavior. It's not optimization. So avoid optimization. The second mistake that I see people make is they have no feedback loops or testing. They set up things in a way that they just jump into it, going to the gym 5 times a week at 5 a.m. in the morning. No feedback loops, no testing, no journaling, no project management system, no reviewing. They don't know their current data, so they think that they can dive into the deep end, and often we know that diving into the deep end, most people drown. Very rarely does someone, you hear the odd outlier, but for most people, they don't stick with that habit because they don't put feedback loops in. And that's why focusing on your current data and focusing on sustained behavior, that's actually going to give you the data set to follow upon so you can actually make changes. So if you're going to improve things, make sure that you've got feedback loops and you're testing. And then finally, not having daily structure to support change or having too many open loops. Now, I touched on this a little bit throughout the presentation, but I find a lot of high performers think they can take on a lot of stuff. A lot of high performers think that they can do everything, and it's a trap. We think we can change all things all at once. We think we can do all the projects, but unfortunately that means we end up with a daily structure that doesn't support us. We end up with too many open loops, and then we start procrastinating, we get overwhelmed, and that leads us to burnout. This structure, making sure that you're only doing one major change or one major improvement at a time with your future identity, hiring your standards and improving your actions, and then getting to that sustained behavior, and then stacking, that stops this from happening. This gives you the structure in your days and your weeks to stop that from happening, and it prevents you from opening too many open loops, opening too many projects, jumping into too many changes all at once. The amount of business owners I've worked with, I would actually say 100% of the business owners that I've worked with who are struggling have too many open loops. It's a curse that handicaps, disables, wipes out a lot of people, heads them towards procrastination, really keeps them back. So make sure that you have the right structure and you're not opening too many loops. Those are the 3 big mistakes that I see when it comes to change. Now, let me know below the video if you have any comments or questions. I will do my best to answer them. I will do my best to give you a sensible, well-educated answer from this system. So let me know. You can find me obviously on X at Steve Timoney, on LI at Stephen Timoney, or you can email at Stephen at StephenTimoney.com. But please let me know below your comments and questions. And finally, I'll move myself down here again. If you're interested, I have a guide that really takes the Acorn Thinking Matrix and this idea and helps you really dive deep into changing your identity, shifting your standards, and improving your actions. It's a 30-page Google Doc on how to reclaim 20 hours a week to focus on boosting your profits in your business in under 60 days. It's a definitive guide of dialing in on the right activities without starting any new habits. So it's an expansion of what we just talked about today. The link to that is around this episode, around this video. Just hit the link, put your email address in, and I'll send it straight over to you, and you can get started. It's part DIY program where I'm going to teach you some exercises, but it's also an offer in there. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I'll help you install the Acorn Thinking Matrix, the 3 key pillars of identity standards actions, all within under 60 days. But before we wrap up, let's head back to the main flow here. Let's move myself back up here. This is it. The flow of how to make changes stick. Pick one habit, process, or system in your business, your life, and take it through this 4-step process. First, start with your current data. Make sure you know everything that's going on in your life, in your business, all the processes, the A to Z of them, the things that you want to improve. Then select your vision and goals, your big unrealistic targets. Make sure that you've got those clear and defined. Then how can you sustain a behavior change, a higher standard and actions to actually get to that new future identity, to those new future goals. Then once you get to that sustained behavior 100%, start stacking and start improving other areas of your life. That is it. That is everything. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode, on this video. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Make it a good one.